Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to another episode of The Ways We Move, the podcast that highlights innovative mobility solutions and the people behind them. My name is Nicolas Zart, and I am your host on this podcast. And today we are in Atlanta. We are at Verticon, Verticon 2026, and it promises to be a very interesting event. This is also another event that I've liked going to for the past few years or many few years, where AAM is well integrated into conventional, traditional the rotor industry. So I look forward to everyone we will catch up with. You will see some interesting sound bites from a lot of people. We have Vertical, we have Eve, who brought their full-scale aircraft. We also met up with Eric Barch at VerdeGo Aero. Always wonderful talking to Eric, and of course, a few more people. SkyDrive was here. We will be meeting with Rohit. And so anyway, I hope that you will enjoy this. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot to us. It helps us a lot. And we are in our second year, so we're very excited to go forward. Always looking forward to seeing new sponsors out there. We do have a Patreon site. Just go to patreon.com and then look for The Ways We Move. So you can see there we do have a 48-hour early access for those of you who would like to sponsor us. And also we have deep dives where I dive down to take just one company and explain what they are doing and why it is, well, either different or what is so unique about it. What is their differentiating factor, I guess I should say. There you go. We hope you enjoy this podcast, and we will be back again on our regular interview schedule. I have to say that I'm lining up a lot of great people to interview on the podcast, so I'm looking forward to that. Thank you all, and we'll see you very soon. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to day one of Verticon 2026. We're in Atlanta. This is The Ways We Move, and I am Nicolas Zart. I am your host, and today we are right here with, the very first time we can actually do the mock-up of Vertical's eVTOL. And as you can see, there's a really interesting display where they can show you how many luggages they can put in this very well and elegantly designed aircraft. We will have a look at it a little bit closer, but I wanted to draw your attention on here is the charging port. And the charging port is fitted in a very excellent position. Sorry, I'm going to go right behind you. But look at where the charging port is. Right there. Pretty smart. We'll see you later. So we're here at the Vertical booth, and we're here with Mandy from the Bristow Group, and I'm going to let Mandy introduce herself.
Hey everyone, Mandy Nelson with Bristow Group. I lead our business development, strategic relationships for our Advanced Air Mobility Initiative. Really exciting to be here at Verticon 2026 and here with our partner Vertical Aerospace and their beautiful Valo aircraft featuring the eBristow livery. So we're very excited about this partnership and to be able to provide our turnkey operational solutions for this type of aircraft and other AAM platforms as well. So it's really awesome to see AAM be so front and center of Verticon.
Yeah, the integration has been really amazing because you guys, actually, this booth has not tapered off. There's a continuous flow of people and interest. And you guys also have done a magnificent job integrating at the crossroad of revolution and evolution. I love that. That is a great one to say. Tell us a little bit about what would you like people to walk away from if they come and meet you or Vertical today?
I think what I want people to take away, especially from the helicopter industry, is that this is just an expansion of our industry. That it is revolutionary, and at the same time, it's a stepwise progression towards the next generation of aircraft. So we're not here to replace anything. We're here to expand and provide increasing vertical solution services to our customers. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and you guys have done it really strategically and pragmatically. So it's exciting. All eyes are on you guys.
All right, we're here for it.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being with us. This is a quick soundbite for the ways we move. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent way to display the luggages too. Yeah, from the that was doing his very well done. It's a multi. Yeah, that's good. So it's like out of it. It's section. So where are you taking us today?
We're going to Miami.
Absolutely, on the beautiful eVair Mobility, the EVA. And we are here at the eVair Mobility booth with a magnificently, look at that color. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh yeah, there.
And I'll let you introduce yourself.
Oh, wonderful. Megha Bhatia, Chief Commercial Officer here at eVair Mobility. Thanks for having me.
What? Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. And we are so thrilled to be here at Verticon 2026 and partner with Frontspy and his team for this beautiful space and to be at the global marquee helicopter show.
Right.
Just couldn't be more excited.
Absolutely.
And it's been phenomenal.
It has been.
It's been phenomenal. Busy, nonstop, in the best of ways. We've met with a host of helicopter operators globally.
And we're here at the eVair Mobility booth at Verticon 2026. We are here with Megha, who is going to introduce herself. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me, firstly. Megha Bhatia, Chief Commercial Officer at eVair Mobility, and we're so excited to be here. Verticon 2026 this is the first time eVair Mobility is showcasing at the global marquee helicopter show, and we couldn't be more excited. We've had a productive day and a half. We've had helicopter operators from all around the world, and it's absolutely fitting given what we are trying to achieve here behind us. This is Eve's eVTOL, a simple lift and cruise configuration, which means 8 rotors to lift the aircraft and 1 pusher to push it forward.
Yep.
And it's being designed for dense urban operations, which means it's going to be able to carry passengers to and from the airport, to and from the FBO, in between the city, and even some sightseeing scenarios.
Absolutely.
And, I think it was just absolutely fitting for us to be here. It was a slam dunk, if you will.
Yes.
Because we have the leading industry order backlogs, but we've recently since started converting them to firm funded orders.
Right.
And so over the past year, we've converted and very proud to partner with Revo in São Paulo, Brazil.
Absolutely, yes.
And will be the launch customer in São Paulo, as well as AirX, which is another helicopter operator. And the reason I'm mentioning them is that they're both firm, established players in the helicopter in the industry. And so we found that it was just the perfect fit. And for us, Eve, here at Eve, speaking to our operators, we find that helicopter operators see the eVTOL as a complementary addition to their existing helicopter fleet.
It's a really good point because we're not replacing anything. We're really going where other aircraft cannot go. And that's the beauty of what you guys are doing specifically.
Yes, we have a diversified customer order backlog. We've got airline operators, we've got lessors, business aviation operators, but we also have helicopter operators. And to your point, you're spot on. There's different use cases and there's different mission profiles. And for the eVTOL, like I mentioned earlier, we're looking at short urban distances.
Absolutely. What would you like people to walk away from when they come to your booth?
It's really, really cool.
It's not cool. Look at that collar. I want one.
Yeah, it's super duper cool. But also, I think I'd love for them to walk away to understand that this is different also from helicopters. When you think about the noise, for example,
Yes.
these are meant to be very quiet because they're fully battery operated.
Yeah.
And so we expect the exterior noise to be a lot less, which makes them a really good fit for urban operation. It also means that you can circumvent some of those noise curfews that are there for helicopter operations in the city today. And then our operators can operate and do more volumes of trips as well. The other thing to think about is the onboarding and offboarding experience. Have you driven a Tesla or another electric car?
Of course.
Yeah. What happens when you get in the car? Do you have to turn on the engine?
No, it's such a quiet, smooth, and peaceful thing. I originally in 2007 I wrote about the EV grin because it's just relaxing.
There you go.
There you go.
So you just have to it's like turning on a switch, right? And so here, this is completely battery powered, which means the rotors will not be turned on when you think about boarding the aircraft.
Good point.
For me as a woman, my hair will not be messed up as a result of it, which is already a huge selling point if you think about it.
For me too.
And also, there's also like an uncomfortable, or you will be super comfortable, boarding the aircraft.
Yes.
So there's a number of parameters that I think really help differentiate eVTOLs from helicopters. And I think everybody's got their space to play in, and we couldn't be more thrilled to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having us. Thank you for for being here today because that really means a lot to all of us.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Megha. And then we'll see you very soon, right?
Yes, we'll see you soon.
Excellent. Thank you. Next, we're visiting Eve with their full mock-up scale here. And as you can see, only the colors are really stunning, but it's really the interior and the front axis. You have to look at it. This was designed originally for a wheelchair axis. Of course, it uses similar designs to what we've seen before, except that these rotors here do not fold. They stay the way they are. One thing you will notice is this propeller should look familiar. That's because this is Beta technology propellers. I had to smile for the camera. Okay, here's by the way, this is what happens. This is what happens right here at Vertical DAI. Look at me again. No, I'm an iPhone guy. Good man. And not only that, but we also have some of the most world famous journalists right here with us all the time.
Working away here.
James is still working. Pretending, don't tell anybody.
That's right.
We're famous people here because guess what? I will leave the bloopers in, but anyway, this gives you a really good idea of the excellent choice of color you guys did here. And there we go. Now, what's interesting about this particular aircraft is I was working at eVTOL Mobility many years ago when this was being designed, and it was interesting to talk to the designers about how much work they did on just that door so that a wheelchair could have access to it. And of course, even more interesting these days is where I'm going to step in next inside the cockpit or the flight deck. So many years ago, I think it was back in 2019, I was there when Safran introduced this to the market, and this is the ingenious electric motor that was originally designed for eVTOLs. Now, we haven't heard much about it yet, but it was an incredible project, and Safran was definitely on the leading edge of that at the time. So we're going to find out a little bit more about them, especially their turbo generator. Something else that Safran has brought over to Verticon today, I have to reread the name. The TG600 Arano 01, I believe, turbo generator, which is really interesting. 1,300 horsepower, roughly 173 kilogram. Now, this is an interesting generator that would be great for, by the way, multi-ports, vertiports, as well as on board. And they're pitting it as a great generator for eCTOLs, eSTOLs, and of course, eVTOLs. So we're here with dear friends of mine, and I've known these guys for a very long time. And why don't I let you, Eric, introduce yourself? Eric.
Outstanding. I'm Eric Barch. I'm CEO, one of the three co-founders of VerdeGo Aero. We're the leader in hybrid electric propulsion. And I'm here at Verticon with Nicolas and with our VH4T, the most recent version of our flagship hybrid electric power plant. And we're really showing what this can do and how this can transform the missions that an electrified aircraft are capable of doing. And it really does bring us into so many more markets, both military and civilian, where we need primary electric power.
Show us a little bit about it. I'm going to try to step away, but show us a little bit about what's going on here.
Absolutely. So what we have here, I'll start at the front end. VerdeGo's proprietary custom content up here, where we've got our own motor generator, our power electronic systems, and all of the cooling and controls that are required to keep this system happy. And what this does is it delivers 400 kilowatts of continuous electric power, which is about 550 horsepower worth of electricity. We can do that all day, and we can make it very simple for airframers to install hybrid electric power in their aircraft by integrating this whole system together tightly, so that all they have to do is give us air, fuel, control inputs, and then we provide 4 independent outputs with the electric buses. So all you've got to do is bolt this in your electric aircraft, and you go from having dozens of miles of range to hundreds of miles of range. You get hundreds of pounds more payload, and you can cruise faster.
So what you're saying is 4 volts means you can have a lot of range and a lot of autonomy with this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can take an aircraft that has minimal capabilities and turn it into something that is really revolutionary and competes very nicely with all of the turbine helicopters that are on the market right now.
Excellent. Eric, I look forward to seeing you very soon, hopefully in Florida, a short hop away from Savannah. And I'm really excited that you guys are here. What do you hope that you can walk away from with the show today?
Well, we've had a lot of great customer meetings, and so I would say this show has been very good for getting people excited about this, and for that matter, getting excited about the predecessor to this, which is already in low volume production, and we're shipping those systems out the door right now.
Wow, fantastic. Thanks, Eric. We'll see you very soon again, okay?
Great. Thanks.
Perfect. Wow. So we're here today, day 2 of Verticon 2020, the Robinson booth, and we saw an interesting presentation yesterday of their drone right behind here and their UAS array into, I guess we can call it adventure mobility in this case, which was very interesting because a few years ago, Robinson absolutely was adamant about no way, we'll never put an electric motor on a helicopter. What a difference 3-4 years have made. And it's an interesting design, what they have here, dual rotating rotors and almost a Star Trek original series look to this. And then right behind me is their foray into autonomous helicopter. This is an R-44, if I'm not mistaken. And interesting to see the inside, as you can see here. I've shot a much better video of it afterwards. There's also a little companion to the big companion, and you can see it right here. So yeah, the company definitely is moving forward with advanced air mobility, and we're going to see right even here, even with a cargo version there. I'm assuming R-44. Yeah. So there you go. I'm sorry, R-22 again. So there you go. Great news from Robinson, and we will have David Smith, who will appear on the podcast very soon. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation because this is a very traditional, conventional OEM that is now stepping into the advanced air mobility industry.
We are fortunate to have several leading AAM manufacturers with us today. They will share how they are moving from innovation to operational deployment, certification, integration, and how they program pathways. We'll also talk about real-world applications, lessons learned, and how collaboration with communities and regulators is shaping the future of advanced air mobility. Before we begin discussing today's hot topics, let's handle. Let's start off with introductions. David Orr from WISC. David is Director of Policy, Regulatory Affairs, and Standards at WISC. He leads the company's engagement in regulatory strategy, policy development, and industry standards to support the certification and integration of autonomous electric aircraft. David, welcome to the panel. Please introduce yourself.
Really great to be here. It's an exciting time to be in aviation. My goodness, what's happening with your leadership and the IPA and DOT at general, Congress's support. So WISC is a manufacturer and future operator of a fully electric autonomous eVTOL. We took an autonomous approach, first for two reasons: safety and scalability. Fully support our friends on the stage here. We need them to get up and running and get to the national airspace safely, efficiently. Also, fast flying in other geographics around the world, so that we can have a global marketplace. But really excited to be here, excited for the discussion, and for the questions.
So we also have participating Megha Bhatia. Megha is the Chief Commercial Officer for Air Mobility. I spent some time with her yesterday. She leads global sales, market intelligence, contracts, and government relations. She's the global executive with extensive experience in aviation business development, strategy, customer experience, and international team leadership. Megha, welcome to the panel. Over to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jessica Jones. And might I add, what an amazing name. Yours, that is. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Jessica, I think that was a fantastic introduction. So, Chief Commercial Officer at eVTOL Mobility, and we're looking to deploy all-electric passenger single pilot eVTOLs on a global scale. Today, we hold the leading global order backlog, and over the past year, we've been able to work with our operators. We partner with our operators from first. And that means we're working really hard to understand what kind of routes of operations that they do. Congratulations, for deploying the DP programs such as these, help enable and catalyze for our catalysts to commercialization to be able to accelerate certification back. So we're looking forward to having these discussions here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Megha. Next, we will have our next panelist, Michael Cervenka with Vertical Aerospace. I spent some time with you all yesterday as well. Michael is the Chief Commercial Strategy Officer of Vertical Aerospace, where he is responsible for company strategy and building technology to revolutionize how people fly by making air travel personal, on-demand, and carbon-free. Michael, welcome to the panel.
Thank you very much, and great to be here. So, based at Vertical Aerospace, actually now launched on here. Just realised we shared an extensive period as on choice, which have been played before. So it is a small world. We are Bristol based, going to see our full-scale mockup Valo, which is down in the far end of the hall below, and I will bring it to life in a better way than I can. And fundamentally, we're an OEM. We are working with predominantly tier one aerospace suppliers, developing incredible aircraft, pilot, all passengers, later luggage. Actually, the expandability is great to 6 over time. We've got a global order book, about 1,500 orders split across 1/3 Americas, 1/3 Europe, 1/3 Asia, and then incredibly exciting time for the industry, aiming to certify in 2028 and bringing the aircraft to America.
Awesome. Great to hear. And then finally, Ryan from Joby. Ryan is the Aviation Policy and Regulatory Affairs Lead at Joby Aviation, where he directs policy and regulatory strategy for the introduction of next-generation aviation technologies. His work spans aviation safety, operational integration, and rulemaking. Welcome to the panel, and for me.
Thank you, Jessica. I also want to thank the AI. This is an amazing panel. I think there's going to be an enormous density of great conversation today. So I'm personally looking forward to that. Joby is an all-electric landing manufacturer, also a future operator, simulation qualifier, pilot school, infrastructure developer. So taking a vertically integrated strategy to operationalize this aircraft. And we have a fleet of 6 aircraft that we're operating today towards our type certification program. We're also operating this aircraft throughout NAS, flying to a lot of DAC airports. I'll bring a little news for you today that we'll be flying to another very exciting Class C airport today. Very exciting, much news. But it's only possible because of Jessica. And so I'm really grateful for her today. Special shout out to Mel Melville, who's been our program manager, who has connected dots across countless lines because yes, lots of equities involved in making complex operations happen. And to do it safely, right? This is very high profile industry. We want to make sure that safety is how we measure success. So, very excited about the IPP. I'm convinced that the IPP was very prepared for the IPP and to administer it to the Department of the States and local governments. Just from my personal experience so far,
with Rotorcraft and his team. So thank you again.
I was love to hear a shout out about the team. I've heard the announcement multiple times. And so if anyone, if you haven't worked with him, I'm sure you will. His manager's here today, Jim Rhodes, that's director of AAM. I encourage folks to meet him as well, because they are really pushing forward on the activity and they're the real folks behind making these things come to fruition. So let's start with our discussion topics. First question. Some of you are pursuing different pathways to operational development, whether through EIPP or other certification and integration strategies. Can you describe your current pathway to operations and why you chose that?
I'll start. So, especially because it feels like they're very, very much in this operationalization stage right now, Joey. So, first and foremost is the type certification program. Nothing puts that priority. Our assets and resources are going to be used there as priority zero, right? Before we can do anything else. Secondly, we're a piloted aircraft. So, what that means, at least our regulatory philosophy from the very beginning, has been to minimize the change, right? To integrate into airspace as seamlessly and as transparently as a helicopter flies today, and all the way down to basic modes, VFR, airspace integration. We've seen FAA to meet that moment. So 711065, their traffic controller guidance updated in October of last year, classified powered lift aircraft, eVTOL as a helicopter, right? With respect to how controllers and pilots interact with each other, how we separate traffic, which I think is the kind of move that only happens when there's been a significant amount of flights, data, experience, and an understanding, I think, of what makes these aircraft different and what makes these aircraft the same. EIPP is fundamental to operationalization strategy. In the first year, the focus is really going to be focused on those first 90 days following the FTA group. That's going to feel very much like what we do today in terms of exhibition authorization, special airworthiness certificate operations, even market survey. Right? There's a lot that we can do. Our existing special airworthiness certificate process for experimental aircraft that is no different than what we do for any other program that people then focus on, for example, those airspace integration priorities as opposed to in the years following the partnership with the FAA and Tony Stan. Power lift SMR, another monumental achievement by the FAA in the last few years. I think that we all felt a little bit like we wish we could have talked to each other more, APX thing, but I think that that's where EIPP solves for some of those issues. The SMR was always meant to be a temporary rulemaking to form by operational data. And what's very interesting is that, when I talk about, I'm sorry, long-winded. Congress provided through Section 920 of the 2024 Reauth Act waiver authority to 4471. And if you're not familiar with that rule, it's sort of like the golden rule. It's like the most essential, I would say, 49 USC. It says you can't operate without an airman certificate. You can't do commercial operations with aircraft not for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you actually do the double negative on, you weigh those prohibitions in a very tailored way, focus very specifically on the operational learning. So, we partner, whether it be on pilot training, operational rules, et cetera, the learning potential is huge, right? In a very, very confined, highly surveilled, highly involved, right, partnership between the operators and FAA. So I'm very excited about that. Hopefully our time yet is short. I'd like to DC. I'd like to normalize the aircraft. But, if you ask me, and I apologize for appendix, and I hope that I get the reflections on this. It has been astounding to see the transition from push to pull. Not just from FAA, but also from the communities that we've served, right? 40 plus applications, I think, went in for EIPP, probably almost all 50 states. Communities putting their hand up saying they want to be the standard bearer of advanced generation aviation technologies. We realize it's a globally competitive marketplace, and we're going to be a part of that. And I think that is very, very comforting in sort of how the relationship in our industry.
I've done it. That's fantastic. I think so from an each perspective, we are currently flying our full scale engineered prototype, and we actually commenced the flight test campaign late last year and have had tremendous success with our flights. It's in fact behaved better than we had planned for it to do so. We're currently conducting cover flights today. We've completed over 30 flights to date, over 106 minutes of flight, which at the onset might seem low. We just started flying, and you think cover flights happen in very short bursts, right? So that's tremendous collection of flights to date, and our goal is to have hundreds of flights completed by the end of the year. And this is our full-scale engineering prototype. With that being said, if you consider hundreds of flights by the end of the year, that's 2 flights daily, weather permitting, of course. Now, moving on to the conforming prototypes, so a certification path, we are looking to build in parallel manufactured components for our first conforming prototype and thereon. So we have 6 conforming prototypes in the certification path. And then from there, we will look to achieve entry into service projected for late 2027. Now, we are first going to pursue the certification path through ANAC. That's going to be our primary agency. And then from there, we will be working together with the FAA. And you know what? Jamel absolutely is a key person. Shout out to Jamel, because we've had multiple meetings with Jim there and Jamel to be closely collaborating with them, with your team, with the CERT team, etc., because we have the backing of Embraer. So we're backed by Embraer, and so we have the experience in the aerospace legacy and heritage that comes from certifying, designing, developing over 23 aircraft programs. And we're following that process. That leading to your question, I'm sure which all you have, which is why are you going through that? This is why we're doing it. We have experience, there's a path, there's a process already in place, and we're following that certification process. Now, when it comes to flight itself, once again, we're following the ethos of certified flight, because we design and develop from the ground up for certification. Once again, this is using the same ethos that we've learned over the years through our 23 aircraft programs. And that is because we aim to do as much ground testing as possible for safety validation. And essentially, we use the flight test campaign for certification and to test the critical elements that can only be done so in flight. So a lot of our testing, our comprehensive testing, is done on the ground. And there's a lot of diligence that takes place on ground before we receive the flight. And so we designed the certification from the ground up. I can tell you plenty of stories today, down to granularity level when it comes to even looking at the seat design, etc., that are all built around certification from the ground up today, that I've had discussions with the engineers. And, I have a different perspective because I'm representing the customer, the operator. But it's always about safety first in terms of designing the certification from the ground up.
I'll go next. So we're Vertical based in the UK. So one of the differences is that means we fall under the UK and in fact adopted the European certification rules, so something called eVTOL. Some differences compared to the FAA approach. I think one is just it's brought in a very open way, the rule making where you can go and download clients, and so it's a really transparent work stack that we need to do to achieve certification. To certify, actually, we've got a joint team working with the UPC and anything else together. Certification for us, we're targeting 2028. And that's a safety standard that envelopes the global safety standard. So just as, for example, the latest Airbus A350 was certified in Europe, then went through foreign validation to get approval all over the world. And we're very much following the same approach. We're working with the FAA, with ANAC, and the other type acceptance authorities. In terms of where we are on that process, we're also flying full-scale piloted prototypes in the UK. But one of the differences in the UK is actually that it's done under a really strong regulatory oversight. So absolutely process. There isn't an experimental exemption because we don't have remote areas in the UK. So we're flying over schools, villages, populated areas, and in essence, the regulator is taking joint legal liability, both the pilots and the third party. That creates a lot of challenges, at least to give you a feel. So we've done all the wingborne, cross-borne flying. We're in the last phase of transition. Wingborne alone, we've managed to submit 20,000 pages of safety documentation. But actually, that's incredible early learning for us to actually type in certification to understand what are the things that make it safe. But it's hard. Vertical is an OEM, so quite a different strategy to this. So we are not to operate. And so our so the pathway to commercialization is very much to work with customers. And they've helped shape the design. We've been working with them for probably 5 years, and a lot of their insights have led to what Valo is capable of like today. But also we work with them in an ecosystem approach to think about how we break down on the market. And one of the things I think is interesting is the ecosystem for how you deploy these aircraft is very different around the world. So how you bring this to market in UK, Europe, in parts of Asia, Japan, Thailand, Brazil, America, it's all different. So I think we have a huge strength in work with well-established operators like American Airlines, Japan Airlines, Bristow's the world-leading helicopter operator, really bringing that kind of local domain knowledge. So I guess for me, I see programs like EIP, and we have equivalents in UK and Europe. So we have a huge flight challenge where we're flying in say our European equivalent. It does ensure that certification. Can't fly, X hundred flights and then demonstrate going out phase one and really pay the rates and saying it's a natural airliner. It helps in terms of public engagement. It helps in terms of community acceptance. It helps in terms of thinking like some of the products and the operational aspects. And that's a really important issue. But I would then do what Ryan said, certification first. We have an industry built on safety, and we have to demonstrate these aircraft achieve levels of safety commensurate with that. So I think those are kind of some perspectives from our end, but very much work with operators in terms of that go-to-market.
To round it out, so I think that there's a lot of clarity around the piloted eVTOL operating in the NASA under current flight rules. My pathway is a little more clear because, again, we'll take it on me motion. First, I'm going to have personnel or no pilots, we call them, that will be on the ground supervising the flight, just like a pilot does in the cockpit. He or she's going to move the ground. But until a few months ago, we didn't have a lot of clarity. The only clarity is the Safran, again, fully supporting this awesome work by the FAA. Again, my partners on this stage up and running. Things like the Vertiport engineering brief. Also, we have more piloted. There's a lot of uncertainty around how am I going to operate, how am I going to integrate safely. But I think now that we have a national strategy for advanced mobility that the DOT announced, now that we have programs like EIP, now that we have methods like the Center of Advanced Aviation Technology in Texas, we have this nexus coupled with Part 1 weight. So I have a certification potential pathway to get one of WISP's subsidiaries, Skype, a third-party certification provider, give them a pathway to get them certified and have them lay on top of the existing aircraft services. In the meantime, thing is just, the branding modernization of the aircraft control system, the BDATs. How can you take advantage of all of that, from EP loss to the nets to EIP, and combine it together under EIP to inform the gaps that we know exist? The FAA came to the industry last year with a couple of points and identified a whole series of gaps that they could be informed of so we could use future rulemaking. I think if you look at the approaches that the FAA is taking when they took a power lift SR, which is intended to be a short-term rule, to allow the industry to go up and do and get data. You couple that with now EIP, which I consider my SFAR. It allows me to get waivers and approvals to get up in the air. So now we're going to go continue and learn the actual operations, and all that needs to flow down from EIP, from the SFAR, from the CAD activities. All of that can flow down to those long-term holistic rules. So at the end of EIP, hopefully we can couple that in the final rule, or at least maybe ARM, that gives us a pathway to scale. Things like potentially maybe new livelihoods, new ways of entering into NAS, maybe end-to-end based operations. But really looking at the whole operation from existing aircraft management through this strategic inflection, coupled with the BNAT. So the opportunities here, the opportunities now, And I think we are all able to that.
Thank you all.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.